What's up, LinkedIn/YouTube? Another video. Just roaming around a bit. Want to get a little away from my apartment for a little bit. Change of scenery. So for this video, I just want to discuss. It's just probably more like a acceptance type video. So this is probably more for people if you're battling a mental disorder of some type in some form. I want to direct this message specifically to you, specifically on the grounds that that you need to deal with it accordingly, because it's not coming from someone who's battled depression. Like, I can get pretty depressed many of times, and again, like I said, I'm a human being just like everybody else. I'm not even going to pretend to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I make shitty decisions. I make shitty mistakes. I do it all the damn time. So I want to discuss the reason why I want to bring this up is because I feel that in our century, more than any other, we're probably our generation is probably the most susceptible to mental disorders, and I definitely know what it's like to suffer from one. Depression, again, it can get annoying. I don't really ever let it get me down. Believe it or not, I have had suicidal ideations before. I've had it happen, and I want to discuss how you deal with it. So I want to make two things clear about mental disorders. Like, if you have like schizophrenia, what else? Attention deficit disorder, bipolar disorder. More than the first thing that you need to realize is that you need to get diagnosed. I heavily recommend you get diagnosed, and I recommend you don't pretend to be in denial, because you're just gonna you're gonna live in a world of suffering. You are gonna be in a world of hurt and suffering. I heavily recommend this. This isn't even about just having your flaws. It's just about self-knowledge. Even if you have nothing wrong with you, you need to know what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, so you can learn to manage it and mitigate your weaknesses, really. Because at the end of the day, there is no point in strengthening your weaknesses. If you want to strengthen your weaknesses, you're never really going to get much further, because no one's really going to value a mediocre loser. Sorry, I don't really know how else to say it. And then the second factor you need to realize with mental disorders is that if you're not treating it and you're not aware of it, you will self-medicate. You're gonna find a way to self-medicate to solve your problem. But the thing is that most self-medication mechanisms are inherently self-destructive. Your life is gonna be shit. Promise you, it's going to be crap. I've done it before. I'm not gonna go too far into detail, but self-medication, trust me, you don't want to self-medicate. It's self-destructive. You're gonna trust me, one day you're gonna find yourself 10 years down the line, and you're gonna wonder what you did with your life, because you were in denial about your problems and your issues. So I mean, like, if you have schizophrenia, I recommend take your medication or meditate. Do something. Don't do shit, because you're doing an injustice to yourself, your own potential, and you're being just a straight up jerk to your own family, because they're gonna have to manage you because you're not managing yourself like you should. Okay, so that's just being responsible. I really heavily recommend that. I could tell you about depression. So I mean, depression, if you're one of those depressive types like me, sometimes you can be pretty down on yourself. This probably stems from high expectations. I mean, depression, there's not really too much you can do about it. Just make sure or actually there's a lot you can do about it, but I don't know what brings it about. If I did, I wouldn't have this issue. But what I'm getting at with this video is that I empathize with you guys' problems, but you guys need to have self-knowledge. It's a journey. So have self-knowledge, recognize your strengths and weaknesses, and make sure that you're kind to yourself, because the world is a very cruel place. The world doesn't really give a shit about you, unfortunately, but that makes you stronger. So, and especially I would say, even if you're one of those that have like bipolar. I have a friend who's bipolar as well, and she's in denial of it, but you gotta manage it, because it'll affect your professional life, it'll affect your personal life, it'll affect so many things. So I recommend you deal with that accordingly. What else? So I want to give you 4 factors that you can use so you can manage your issue accordingly. Okay. So let's do 3. 3 is better. I like 3. 3 is the magic number. So the first factor is, like I said before, self-knowledge. So have self-knowledge. Understand what am I good at? What are my weaknesses? What does this disorder affect? In what way does it impair my functioning relative to my competition? And how do I deal with that? And how can I make steps forward to be a productive citizen of society? Okay? And obviously this is case by case for each individual disorder. If you have attention deficit disorder, I heavily recommend you manage that like it's on fire. I've seen so many lives destroyed by missing details. It's trust me, it's not fun. If you're bipolar, meditation, depression, exercise, like your life depends on it. So just self-knowledge. Second factor, I would say that's very important to mental disorders, mental illnesses, is be kind to yourself. Don't be a jerk to yourself. It doesn't help anybody. It's not going to help you, because if you're an asshole to yourself, then other people are going to be an asshole to you. Okay? That's how that works. It's really simple. However you act to yourself is how people will act to you. Don't pretend like people don't know. People can sense a vibe off you so quickly. It's like sensing like a bad odor in the room. They'll avoid you, and you'll get even more depressed. I've been through the cycle. I know how it works. It's not fun. So be kind to yourself. Use self-affirmation words. Say you did a good job today. Say you're doing good. Say you're making progress. Be positive, and then ultimately that will give you deliverance unto your next goal. Okay. So just develop a kind heart for yourself, because most people with disorders, they've been through something traumatic, trauma, something of that nature, and it's in the back of their psyche. And you have a tendency to be a nihilist. You hate the world. You're overly negative, but the world isn't as negative as you lead yourself to believe. It's not as horrible as it is. So the third factor I want to make is have a good freaking routine. Have a routine like your life depends on. Have a good goddamn routine. Have something predictable that predicts when you will get off and on, so your body is ready. Have a good routine. That routine could just be, if you have a cycle of negative thoughts, then you can manage those thoughts using this 1, 2, 3 process, and then you can break it down, and then you're no longer having those negative thoughts. Okay? If you're obsessive compulsive, then you need to face that fear. So you just develop a process by which you can manage it and deal with it, which is a routine. I recommend a morning routine. I really recommend a morning routine, like as if your life depends on it. Really, truly, utterly recommend it. And yeah, I don't really have much more I can really tell you guys about this. I wish I could say that there's like a magic formula I could give you that like would help you fix your problems. Like, I've come this far and I still haven't really like found an answer or anything. Like, I found some good ways that work for me, but it took me a long time, and I'm still not like perfect or anything. So And I would say the final factor is don't use your disorder to make excuses, okay? That's the lowest pathetic form of excuses there is. It's pathetic, really. Don't use, it's not even a factor, this is just a bonus, okay? Still consistent. Don't use a crappy shit excuse to explain away your behaviors. There still is no freaking excuse, because the reason why there's no excuse is because there's still a way to manage it. So if there's still a way to manage it, then you can still deal with it, okay? So just don't make any lame excuses. That's all I have to say. Alright, thank you, Lincoln YouTube.